Holla the blow, blow, blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tomorrow night. We go have a fine time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a fine time all night tonight. All night tomorrow night. Let me go. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow.
A pleasant good morning. I want to encourage you this morning to share the live. Share the live. Those who are on, a pleasant good morning. Share the live this morning as we are on our live show talking about matters of importance. So I want to encourage you again, share the live. Share the live. Share the live so that persons can join in. A pleasant good morning to you. A pleasant good morning to you. Just share the show this morning. Share the show with those around so they will not miss key and pertinent information this morning. So just share the live today. Keep sharing the live. A pleasant good morning. A pleasant good morning. Share the live. Share the live. Share the live. Good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, share the live. Encourage friends to join this morning. We want to have a very interactive session as we share today. Just share the live. Share the live. Share the live. You're encouraged to share the live this morning. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning. Call a friend. Tell a friend that the show is on so they can join. Good morning. Good morning. Just share the live this morning. Good morning. It's a bright day. It's a wet day. It's a blessed day. But let's just share the live today. Call a friend. Invite a friend to join us. We're coming live from the East Bank of Demerara. This is the people's representative. So let's just share the live today and encourage people to join, to view the show, share their comments as we continue this morning to discuss matters of pertinent importance. So you're encouraged to share this morning. Good morning, Miss Alicock. Yes, a blessed Sabbath to you too. Let's share the live. Let's share the live. Share the live this morning. Just share the live and get people to join in so that we can be informed and updated with all that's happening around us. Yes, a pleasant good morning to you. A pleasant good morning to all of you. To share the live this morning, share it and invite someone else to join in as we listen to information that will be presented. We have a special guest this morning that will join us. Good morning, Ms. Vickery. Yes, share the live with the folks and encourage them to join the show so that we can receive the necessary information that will help us to live day by day. I'll share the live this morning. Okay, share the live. Share the live.
Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tomorrow night. We go have a fine time. All night tonight, all night tonight, all night tonight. We go have a fine time. All night tonight, all night tomorrow night. Let me go. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow.
Yes, and we're back this morning on our show. Right. Good. This morning we'll be joined by the regional chairman of Region 4, Comrade Daniel Siram, and hopefully we'll have the VC2 joining us somewhere along the show, and they will be here to share pertinent information with you. So share the word this morning, encourage others to join so that they can be updated. Good morning, with all that is happening. I want to start this morning by sharing a thought. It says, sometimes the best way to put things into perspective, the proper perspective, is to remember who God is and to remember and to remind ourselves who we are not. Let me read that again. Sometimes the best way to put things into the proper perspective is to remember who God is and to remind ourselves who we are not. And so we have so much going on around us this morning. And sometimes it's good to step back and reflect and focus and remember that we serve a God who's bigger than all of us. He knows more than you and I can know. So we just need to continue to trust him. Well, I just want to zoom in a little on all that is happening around us. This morning I like the famous proverbs that says, do so not like so. And we've witnessed what has happened in the United States of America. And I'm quite sure all Guyanese can relate to what has happened. And it continues to trouble us to think that persons who were claiming that they were fighting for democracy have their own troubles now in their doorway. And we're wondering what happened to all these persons, ABC countries and all these people who are fighting for democracy and so forth. We're hardly hearing any of them coming out to say anything in relation to what has happened. But the good thing it's not Guyana. That's America. This morning, I want to highlight some of the challenges we continue to face with COVID. COVID-19 is real, and we have to remember to be wise, use wisdom at this time in protecting ourselves and protecting our children and our family. And the basics, we wear our face masks, we sanitize, we practice our social distancing and all of that. But one of the things that is troubling my mind about the COVID-19 currently is this reopening of school. As I prepare for this presentation this morning, I reflect that in October last year, the new COVID-19 guidelines provide for the reopening of schools for students grade 10 and 11. Then on the 10th of November 2020, I had the headlines that reads, 8 students at PC was positive. But the question is, was the school closed? On November 22nd, 2020, you had another headline that says 32 students tested positive for COVID-19 since the reopening of schools. And yet still, they continue to push for the reopening of the schools. Then on January 8th, only yesterday, we had a report that spoke of 11 more dorm students tested positive for COVID-19. And according to the Minister Frank Anthony, 30 positive students, 11 teachers, and 13 other staff members in the school system were tested positive. The question I'd like to ask is, what is really being done to protect our children, our teachers, and those who serve at the school? Is anything actually being done? There are guidelines given by UNICEF when it comes to the reopening of schools and what should be in place. But when you read those guidelines, many of those guidelines given are not being followed at the school system. And so it is quite troubling to think that Persons are sending out their children. Yes, we know education is important, and the basic guidelines are not being followed and continue to put our children at risk. This morning, I call on the parents to use wisdom in this situation. You have to think about your children's safety, and their health. You have to think about you also, because if your child goes out and get infected and coming home to a family where there are other children and so forth there, we need to have things in place to deal with that. One of the things I've seen is that I would like to know what are the emergency plans in place at schools if a child should fall sick, that child will be taken care of, or is it expected that those teachers who have a vehicle will transport the child to the hospital? These are things that really needs to be answered and needs to be questioned. And then you have the whole situation where uniform, the $4,000 grant is vouchers are being distributed to buy, I guess, uniform to go where? When we have thousands of children in this country who are unable to access the internet service or even have a common device that they can use to tap in and get the information needed for their class. So these are some of the things that we need to pay attention to and do what we have to do. Now, this morning, I'm happy to welcome our regional chairman, Mr. Daniel Siram, to our show. Yes, and continue to share the live because he's going to bring us some pertinent information.
Good morning, honorable member, and good morning to your viewers as well.
Good
Happy
morning.
Happy
Yes,
New Year to you and to our viewers this morning.
thank you. And thank you and good morning for joining our show. It's nice to have you. You're welcome here. I'm honored to have you on the show this morning to share with us. You wouldn't be using your video this morning so the persons can see you, or they're just going to be seeing the your photo there.
I'm having
Uh,
a bit of an issue with poor connection, so if I
okay,
use both the
okay.
video and the audio, you wouldn't be hearing me at a good quality.
All right. Well, thanks for joining, and we'll get right into the meat of you joining us this morning to share with us. So, Comrade Siram, I know that you have responsibility for the region and all that's happening, and we're currently in the time of preparing budgets and proposing projects for the region. So I'd like you to share with our viewers some of the areas or communities you've planned to complete projects for in this 2021 budget.
Thank you, honorable member. Well,
Yes.
first off, the budget wasn't only crafted. The current proposed budget was not crafted by the council. Normally, what is supposed to happen is that the council, the regional democratic council, via the councillors, were supposed to be having meaningful consultation with the communities, in which
Mhm.
they would have brought a number of issues that were affecting those communities and the different constituents in those communities.
Yes.
Would have them compiled a very long list of projects and activities that we would have wanted to be executed within the region for the new 2021. But of course, we're not such a rich country to have every activity or every proposed project being taken on. So we would have prioritized them, and we would have taken at least one project from each councillor. We have there about 33 councillors sitting on the Regional Democratic Council to ensure that everywhere that there's a councillor present that is
Yes.
responsible for a constituency, that they would have had a project that would have been that would bring relief to that constituency being brought forward. Now,
Okay.
I can tell you this: this is not what is happening currently at the Regional Democratic Council.
Okay. What?
Councillors would have submitted these projects
Mm-hmm.
in a timely manner, but however, the regional administration, for whatever reason, right, not given to council, would have not inputted the majority of those projects that we would have seen a greater development for region number 4.
Wow. Wow.
I do
Mm,
note in particular that some areas were touched, but not to the percentage that we would have liked to see um, development done. We noted particularly also that for there are five major program heads in any region. We have
okay.
education, health, public works, agriculture, which deals with your drainage and irrigation works, and you have, of course, the finance and administrative program.
Okay.
When we as a council, I had to request of the REO acting at the time that council must be consulted because um, honorable member and persons listening and viewing here currently,
Yes.
what happened at the RDC Region 4 is that a document was brought to myself and the vice chairman for signature on
Okay.
on All Year's Day, the 31st of December 2020, for us to
Wow.
sign off on blindly. We did not do so. We perused the documents with members of the finance committee who were in the building at the time, and we
Mm-hmm.
unanimously decided that this is not the proposed items that we set
Project.
forward as a council.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have reprimanded the REO and told the REO acting at the time, and I would have told them to go back, have the budget reviewed, and then the next time I'm seeing this budget is with full council in attendance.
Okay.
That
Which
was
is right.
that happened.
Mm-hmm.
We had all of the available members of council came to a meeting in which
Okay.
the heads of department attended also to give presentations.
Okay.
With regards to education, health, and agriculture, we didn't have any major issues with their proposed budgetary allotments that they were asking for. But
Okay.
when we got to the meat of the matter in the public works program and the finance and administration, this is when we saw that nothing basically what we put forward was taken.
Wow.
After
Mm-hmm.
much scrutiny from the council, the head for the public works program basically said that councillors, after being scrutinized by councillors for why certain roads and bridges and so were chosen, the program head basically said that, sir, this was instruction given to us by central government.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, after the same thing was done to the finance and administrative head, because most of the programs that we wanted to see, for example, relief to persons who would have suffered from fire or flood, relief to single parents, small
Mm-hmm.
businesses grants, tourism awareness in the region, none of these line items were given any
Wow.
monies allotted to them. So we asked, who cut this budget, or who had any input into this budget otherwise than council? And it was then said to us by the program here that central government would have inputted these data and done these approvals. So we were left as a council now sitting asking, why are we being presented central government's budget, right? And
Mm-hmm.
our programs and our projects are not even inputted in it for our approval. And
Wow.
this is the level at which they have no respect or regard for local democracy, or to see the development of works at the community level being
Mm-hmm.
done. Because, honorable member, I know you work tirelessly on the East Bank,
Yep.
and I know you would have been aided by councillors from our RDC. And I can tell you that the councillors who would have been working arm in arm with you to go into these communities and so would have submitted those projects to the level of the RDC.
Mm-hmm.
And it was remarkable to see that none of these projects were carried in the 2021 budget. And none of the relief efforts that we would have put in place are considered in this budget. And none of the economic programs that we would have
Mm-hmm.
crafted to reinvigorate the region economically would have been seen in this budget. So much is left to be desired to the outcome.
Wow. All right. Comrade Siram, that's a whole lot for us to think about this morning because Region 4, as you know, has the largest population in the country, and these pertinent projects for infrastructural developments are absolutely necessary. And it is very sad to hear that central government is putting themselves in the business of Region 4 to minus projects that are really necessary for our people. Comrade Chair, I don't know if you can highlight maybe two or three communities, be it on the East Coast or the East Bank, where projects were removed from those communities.
Well, we had a whole host of roads and bridges for Cane Grove, right? I didn't see a
Okay.
lot of them. Actually, I can't remember seeing any of them in the public works portfolio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we would have this is also should be noted when we asked why these roads weren't covered in the presentation that we would have seen, right? We would have been told that some of them were probably in the recurrent budget. So we asked to just have a list of these roads or bridges, and until now we would have not been furnished with that information, right?
Wow.
Many areas along the east coast of Demerara, I know,
Mm-hmm.
coming out of Pleasance industry areas, we would have slated some roads for emergency works. I haven't seen them being done as yet. Um, I do recall seeing at least one road for Mocha Arcadia, right? And that is a road that was actually placed on the budget since 2019, I think, right? So that was
Okay.
given consideration this time around. But however, I did lobby for the road, the road that the farmers use leading into Barnwell. I think we would
Barnwell
have
North.
discussed it, right? I didn't see anything on that. Many other areas in and around the region, roads that NDCs would have asked us to undertaken. Um, as I said yesterday, because I was on a program yesterday with Randy and Sherrod,
Yes.
and I said, as soon as I have that completed budget that the administrative arm would have submitted, then I
Mm-hmm.
would have be in a better position to compare what we as council would have submitted as opposed to what they would have submitted themselves.
Yes.
But
Okay.
it all is not lost because we still have to meet with Ministry of Finance this week, and I will
Okay.
be very, very much representing the people. And at that meeting, in saying that the Region 4 budget basically doesn't reflect the will of the council and therefore does not reflect what the people would have asked us to do in the region. I do note also that a circular is going around that the president has said that there's a three-tier approach in which he's using for infrastructure, and this is being echoed by the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development. Now, if we were to take sense from nonsense, why wasn't this measure given to us before preparing the budget so that we could have understood where these
Yes.
projects are supposed to go? It is
Yeah.
only until we started to make um, a shout about it because in my capacity as regional chairman, I would have written a letter of displeasure to the REO acting at the time, and I would have written to the finance minister or the minister within the Ministry of. I can't remember it's a
Your
fancy portfolio.
portfolio.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a very fancy portfolio now, but basically the minister with responsibilities
For finance.
for, for finance
Mm.
asked me thing and asked him and outline for him exactly what is going on in regards to our budget. And it is only until after writing to the government agencies, right, and asking them for clear thinking on these projects, then you would have seen that all of a sudden government had a criteria for certain things to be inputted into the budget, in which I just think is just another set of red tapes to ensure that certain regions whom the people of the region, the majority of people in the region, did not vote for the government, current government, do not partake in the national development or regional development at any cost.
Yes, thank you, Comrade Siram. That is very informative to our people because I know from visiting the communities, there are several communities that really need certain infrastructural work done because of its importance. I would have posted some photos from visiting Barnwell North, Mocha day before yesterday, and was showing the condition where people have their transportation and everything, but is unable to have access to the road. So the vehicles are parked in the yard and they have to pay a cart to transport their goods when they already have the convenience, but just the road is hindering that. So it's very sad to hear that. However, Comrade Siba, I'm quite sure the people of Region 4 will not sit idly by to see that our rights are being trampled on or being deprived. So we will work, I'm quite sure we'll work tirelessly as a people to ensure that we have these main and key projects completed in the region. So we want to thank you so much for that information. Comrade Simram, I would just like to ask, I know I've been speaking earlier about the COVID-19 and the reopening of schools. Can you say what's happening with our schools in Region 4 in terms of preparation for the COVID-19?
Well, I did ask the same question of my Redo.
Okay.
Let it be also known that I did write an article on the reopening of schools as it relates to the first reopening of schools, in which I think that it was done in a rushed manner and not much
Okay.
thought was given to it in terms of, excuse me, in terms of having the necessary teachers personnel trained to take on this new role of going to school in a pandemic.
Yeah.
We did note that a lot of questions that I would have asked at the regional level were not answered, and that the decision to open these schools was made by the central government ministry um, of education for that.
Okay.
I do check in from time to time to see exactly what is going on. I was very displeased, and actually, it's quite alarming to hear that persons in President's College are still being tested positive for COVID. And
Wow.
I was sent a message this morning for some other schools as well, still to be confirmed if they are COVID 19 positive.
Okay.
There's so much more that could have been done, better avenues that could have been used instead of face-to-face interaction in schools.
Yes.
When we take children, no matter the amount of children, and we send them back into school, there's still a volume of excess persons on the road using public transportation.
Transportation.
um, I heard you earlier. I was following your introduction in terms of what are the actions on if a child becomes ill at school. What are the measures being used? Where will they go? Um,
Mhm.
all of these questions would have been asked not only by myself or you, honorable member, but also other persons concerned in society about the welfare of our children and also the educational aspect.
Okay.
Um, I mean, there's only so much the teachers can do at this
Can
point in
do.
time. They're continuously sanitizing the classrooms, but then that is at the level of the physical institution of the school. You
Mm-hmm.
remember that the children still have to travel to go to
Travel.
school and travel from school, in which it was
Yeah.
reported that even after school, that the children are congregating while they wait on public transportation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's, I still think that this is an idea that is bad in thought, right, and even bad in the execution of it. I would urge that the central government ministry rethink this whole going back to school thing and place more emphasis, especially coming out of the budget, on more virtual means of getting education to students. I know for a fact that our educational department, dynamic as it is, has come up with a force phase to try to get these tablets, procure the tablets through the national procedure of the budget, to have these instruments being given to children so that they have better means of, um, of getting the
Mm-hmm.
information rather than having to be in direct communication with anybody that can harm them or spread this pandemic.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I mean, there's so many other tiers we have to do. It's not only giving the instrument, but is speaking to government so that they can make health centers hotspots in community areas. Um, there's so much more that can be done with the education sector rather than just sending out volumes of children to schools that basically we know that aren't 100% pervious to the COVID-19
Oh,
pandemic.
yes. All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Siram, for sharing in that. And yes, I do concur with your views on that. Being a teacher, it's troublesome to me to think about having the children returning to the classroom and traveling in public transportation and all of that. All right, Comrade Siram, I'm going to give you a few minutes to give your closing remarks. You have fed us with quite a wealth of information. I'll be happy to post some of your writings on the page so that persons can read um, what you would have written and some of the information you've been giving out. And we anxiously await to have the completed budget so that we can examine what exactly what is done to us at Region 4 level. So over to you, Comrade Siram. You can give your closing remarks and stuff.
Thank you again, Honorable Member.
You're
And
welcome.
most importantly, thanks to our viewers and supporters this morning for tuning in.
Yes.
Um, we will try very much, even from, and I thank again the Honorable Member for me to use her platform, but all of the
Yes.
platforms of all of our Member of Parliaments and the regional chairpersons in all the regions, and any platform that we can find to let you, the people, know exactly what is going on.
Yes.
Um, what we find is that transparency is needed, and that the current administration, right, though they speak of transparency in the public domain, it's not transparent
Parent
behind
at all.
closed doors. And this is what exactly that we want to clarify with you, let you know step by step what we are doing for the further development of region number 4, and of
Mm-hmm.
course for the further development and looking on at the development of the country nationally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the fight for us is not has not ended, nor will I nor any member of my team give up on the development of region number 4. We will push
Very
forward
good.
and ensure that every aspect of that budget is scrutinized. Every single road that is inputted into that budget, every single bridge revetment, health center is given justification as to why it's there in the national budget, taking up millions of Guyanese dollars that you, the taxpayers, would have paid to ensure that the development happen in your region.
Mm-hmm.
We will sit down, we will watch this and observe this keenly and report back to you exactly every step of the way how things are being run in your region. You can expect much more from my tenure in office and the councillors that I have ably aiding the service of the region. We must also thank the geographic MP, Miss Nima Flue, Honorable Member Nima Flue-Bess, for the service that she's given to the East Bank. I know she's been working assiduously as a one woman army sometimes to listen and to hear everyone's concern. And I thank you for that, Honorable Member,
You.
and I thank you
Thank you.
once again for having me on.
Thank you, Comrade Siram, and do enjoy the rest of your day. And it was really nice having you this morning. Yes. And so we want to say a special good morning to all our viewers online. Thank you for joining us. Brittany, I know Brittany is one of the residents at Barnwell North, uh, Mocha, and she has been very vocal in speaking out and sharing information when it comes to the road that really needs to be done. As you will have listened to our regional chairman sharing what are the challenges being faced in Region 4, I know that local governance is something that the PPP administration never really wanted or never really liked because for them, it's probably giving the people too much power to make decisions that will affect their lives. But we know that local governance is important. The people in a community are the persons who would live in that area all the time. They would be there. The authority is there. They're communicating and talking to residents, seeing what is happening. And those are the best persons to identify the projects that are needed for completion in their community or constituency so that it can be done in the budget for this year. However, as our regional chair has highlighted, there are some challenges, but we will keep pushing towards ensuring that these projects are completed. A special good morning to all our overseas guests who have joined us this morning. It's a privilege to have you, and thank you for your continuous support as I continue to serve the people of Guyana. One of the things I wanted to share with you before I end the show this morning, during this week, I was at Grove and Caneville. Somebody messaged me last week and asked me to visit Caneville. Well, this was my third visit to Caneville. And My main reason or purpose for being in that area is that the report we got of someone being marginalized from receiving the 25,000 COVID grant. So I went on the ground to visit and have a discussion with the individual. Now, would you believe my people? When I got to Grove and I saw the young woman, from the time I saw the young woman, I recognized that yes, she is one of the persons that deserve to have this 25,000 COVID grant relief. And I tell you why. One, the young woman is practically about 8 months pregnant, close to delivery. Two, she has a toddler. Three, she's living in a rented house and it's only her and that is living there on that property. So there's no annex, no other person living on the property. Now, the young lady or the team that was sharing this COVID grant said to the young woman that she was a squatter at the residence she was staying at, so she did not deserve to get the grant. I said, wow. In relation to that, she also said everyone else through the street got their money, this 25,000. And as soon as it reached her, it was not given. And she's of the opinion that because probably what people would have said, it would have influenced the person sharing the COVID grant. The sad thing about it, I think, is that the person in charge of this team is a female. So I would want to think, even though they're claiming, quote unquote, they have a criteria that is being used for the distribution of this grant, from the time you observe that this is a single mother, pregnant, she has a toddler, she looks like she's expecting very soon, her child, I would want to think the human side of that individual would want to assist that person by giving the grant. She was not given it. And it was so sad when you sit and you listen to the young woman's difficulty she's having. Then they'll continue to share the grant. I was in Caneville because I went to observe what's happening with the distribution of the grant. And I can tell you, based on what I've seen personally with my own eyes, the system is not a system that one would want to be a part of. They make it look as though, one, we have a whole lot of police officers with large guns walking around, as though I'm coming to find this criminal, or they're expecting somebody to do something to this person sharing the money. Fine, we understand that they need security, but I don't know if that level of security is needed. Secondly, the person is apparently picking and choosing where to go, where to stop to give this monies. As again, I want to reiterate, this is a pandemic. We should not be seeking to score points on putting people under additional stress. I'm looking at the psychological and emotional stress those distributors in Grove would have done to that pregnant woman who's expecting anytime, especially knowing her condition and her need. Instead of being compassionate, even though you have a job to do, you're distributing this grant. Show some compassion. You cause the individual to have more stress and probably send up her pressure over $25,000. It is a very sad situation, but we need to stay focused. We need to keep pushing. We need to keep fighting and speaking out for our people. I want to encourage persons when they come into your area, y'all should use your gadgets and take videos of them. And so when you have all these conflict going on, because I spent actually over an hour in Caneville observing the whole process, how they were distributing the grants to the persons, and some persons were dissatisfied. Some persons were happy because they probably would have received, but yet even those who would have received felt disgruntled, especially when they knew that there was someone who really needed the $25,000 to share with them. Also, I was at the NDC meeting at Eccles the other day, and one of the things I observed is that there were no residents at that meeting. I want to encourage our people. The authorities there, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to be involved in governance of your community. in the interest of your country, in the interest of everything that is happening, you have a responsibility to be involved. Find out when there is NDC meeting. Everybody don't have to go. One person in your street can be the person who goes to the meeting and sitting and listen to what is being presented. What is being presented to the individuals and being presented on behalf of your community, so you can have your say in what is happening. If you don't attend the meeting, you will not know. And don't let them tell you that the NDC statutory meeting is a private meeting. It cannot be a private meeting when they're representing public interests. I also met an individual when I was at that meeting who went there to find out when the COVID grant was coming to Eccles. The council could not have answered that question because they have no knowledge and no idea as to what is happening with the distribution of the COVID grant relief. And I want to encourage residents, take note. It makes no sense you run to the NDC offices to find out when the grant will be coming to your area, because they would not know. They would not have any information to give you. Nothing was filtered to them. There's someone sending persons to the NDC offices to find out when the grant coming in your area. As far as I know, for the East Bank, up to yesterday, Ward Grove. I don't know if they'll work today because I see rain is falling quite heavily. And they might tell us that rain is falling and they will not come to the community. So you have to just stay on the ground and pay attention to what's happening. The other information I want to share with you this morning is that the farmers will continue to suffer with this heavy rain, especially in Mocha Arcade community, my community, because one, canal number 3 is filled to the brink. This morning I drove out there, water is very high. The junior canal, which is the main drainage canal for the farmlands, has been blocked and a drain is there to drain the community still. It has not been cleared, it has not been opened. And it is sad to see how many farmers are continuing to lose their crops that were planted and would have been harvested in a very short time. I've lost a lot because I do farming too. All the fruit trees, all the soursop, the cherry, the 5-finger, and all of that, everything is underwater. It has been damaged and it's very sad. And so I want to encourage our people, regardless of what is going on. At the end of the night, before you close your eyes, be content with what you've done. The discouragement we face today and the failures we're seeing should be our motivation to achieve success. I'm motivated by all that I see around happening to us, and I want to encourage you to be motivated. So in closing this morning, I want to say to you, remember to stay focused on the prize. God bless you, and do enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Yes. Thank you so much.
Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow the man. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow, blow. Holla the blow, blow. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a grand time all night tonight. All night tomorrow night. We go have a fine time all night tonight. All night tonight. All night tonight. We go have a fine time all night tonight. All night tomorrow night. Let me go. Holla the blow, blow, blow.